Dust Raiders is an open-ish world story with trade, real-time-ish combat with pause-ish mechanics, and a lot of other ish. It's unclear that it knows what it wants to be, but does that make it bad? Watch on and find out. My name is Thoraxe, and this is Strategy for Busy People. If you've got a few minutes, I'll tell you what to play. The reboot of the Mad Max franchise with the Fury Road movie inspired a lot of Mad Max-like stuff. Dust Raiders by Vixa Games caught my eye as a video game that looked like it was designed after the Fury Road movie. The trailers definitely evoked that post-apocalyptic wasteland feel. I spent about 3.5 hours exploring what this game had to offer so that I could explain to you, what it had to offer, right? So then the game and its offerings? The story's pretty normal. There's a bad person who has something or whatever, and you have to go find them and make them pay for the taking of the things and the stuff. So you run around and get better at things and stuff, and go fight the bad person. The end. No, but that's kind of all there appears to be to it. You start off with pretty much nothing, as is expected with any game. You scrounge up a little bit of stuff from the area immediately surrounding your starting town, which gives you enough stuff to have a vehicle with a weapon, and then you can really get things going. That starting vehicle is your roamer, the main vehicle in your motorized caravan that you use to defend yourself. You can discover and or purchase other vehicles in your travels along the way to expand your caravan, and there are different types of vehicles with different pros and cons to how they operate. Will you choose light and fast with little armor, or will you go slower and heavier so that you can take more of a beating? But we'll cover that later. As you roam with your roamer, you will find other roaming enemies. And that's when the real-time-ish with pause-ish combat elements come into play. Your vehicles have various attacks that are granted by their weapons and by the vehicles themselves. In some cases, you can sideswipe the enemies or ram them or just shoot things at them. The driving area is made up of square tiles, and both you and the enemy are constantly jockeying for position on these tiles. Your weapons have a shooting range that is visually indicated, so you know how close you have to get to the enemy to be able to hit them with your ranged weapons. The special attacks all have cooldown periods, which means you have to be strategic about what you use and when you use it. The vehicles have armor and hit points. Once the armor's out, the hit points start to drop, and as expected, no hit points means the vehicle is temporarily destroyed. If your roamer is destroyed, well, it's game over, man. While all the maneuvering and shooting and ramming is going on, the road will change. Obstacles or blockages may appear. In some cases, you can push or ram your enemies into these obstacles, which helps in taking them out, or if you're not paying attention, you'll take yourself out. When I was a little kid, I think I had a copy of the physical board game called Thunder Road, and to be honest, the combat in Dust Raiders looks like it was ripped right out of that board game. That's not a bad thing, mind you. For whatever reason, I didn't realize it at the time of playing Dust Raiders, but when making this review, I got some nostalgia for that old board game. All of that being said, in the end, after several dozen of these combat encounters, it really isn't all that interesting anymore. Sure, at the end of combat, you get to loot the enemies, and that's good, but the combat really does start to feel same after a while. What about the other open world-ish aspects of the game? Well, as you explore the map, you discover other enclaves. Each enclave has a production specialty, and there are a bunch of opportunities to make money through trade. Buy low, sell high, you know the drill. Not every place you visit is right next to the place that wants the goods, so in some cases you have to trek around in a big loop to establish a nice trade route. But as far as I know, all these cities' production is fixed and the map is not random, which means replayability is low. If the same trade loop is always there in every run of this game, how much fun will it be the second time? Sure, there's some entertainment in the number go up of filling your fuel tanks, buying some goods, trekking off to the next place, destroying some baddies, and repeating. But as I mentioned before, the combat gets pretty old pretty quickly, and so the trade stuff starts to lose its shine, too. Yes, there are jobs that you can take to make money, but this too is problematic because sometimes a job would need to be done in a place that you hadn't found yet on the map. So if you didn't constantly bounce between the maps and the job boards, you might accidentally take something you didn't want. On top of all of this, some of the story pathways are literally blocked by trade barriers. You need to bring some stuff or some money to an enclave to even be allowed in, but you have to go to that specific place to continue the story. It ended up feeling super grindy. When I finally had ground my way through to what was the first bad boss you were supposed to vanquish, I got all the way up to starting that fight and decided to bounce out. Before I give my final verdict, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to share it with your friends. Agree with me, disagree with me, or want to see other content? Let me know in the comments below. Want to try this game yourself? Check out my humble affiliate link below. And if you want to support me in making more of these videos, become a patron on Patreon. Your support really makes a difference. The final verdict. The game does have an interesting strategic space, but the shine wears off pretty quickly. Sure, there are different people you can hire to go in your various vehicles, and they all have pros and cons. They can die, and that death is permanent, but the whole is really not much better than the sum of the parts here. The game is all functionally there, but it just didn't capture me. They've added some game modes and made some major updates, but I'm not sure that those things would change my opinion. On my trademarked 3-point score scale of avoid, meh, and I forgot to eat, in spite of myriad food and beverage related goods to trade all over the wasteland, I found this game kinda boring pretty quickly. It's just kinda meh. For the price, it's just fine, and maybe you'll find it interesting enough, but for myself, I decided that I would rather pack up my entourage and drive off into the wastes and run my taco truck. 'Cause the roamer looks kind of like a taco truck. Tacos.